So I watched Smallville because I'm addicted to it. I do not believe that it's the best show on television. Does it have the best writers? Absolutely not. Does it have the best storylines? Not even close. Consistency and logical flow from episode to episode. No, I'm gonna have to give it a failing grade for this season. The best actors? No. I watch it because it's about Superman, and that's the extent of it. I can't logically explain to someone why they should watch this show, except for the fact that it's like, can a heroin addict explain logically why they do heroin? No, I'm addicted to it. That being said, I loved this episode because it had Lois and Clark reporting, it had them, as a couple, it had other heroes, it had the Daily Planet, it had Clark wearing glasses. This is what season 10 should have been the entire season. Homecoming, Booster, um, Ambush, Icarus, Masquerade. I would say there are about 7 or 8 episodes that were on par with what this season should have been about, and the rest of it was crap. So why they couldn't have produced episodes like this ever since Abandoned, Save Icarus and Masquerade and Booster, I mean, like, all the things that matter to Superman, they just should have had that in season 10. All the other crap? No, pointless. So, another thing, I'm just gonna say something, compare this to the Vampire Diaries, which maybe people listening don't watch. But I will just say, the Vampire Diaries, maybe you don't like vampires or werewolves or any of this stuff and you don't watch it, but it's a quality show. You may not like it because of your preference, but the quality of it is very high. Like, every week something happens that at the end of the episode I'm like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, I can't wait to see what happens. Like, it's a series that leads you from one episode to the next. Where Smallville is like, it ends, you go, oh my god, I can't wait to see what happens next week. And I just watch it because it's on. It's not like, oh my god, because, say for example, Tess stabs Alexander with the needle with cyanide in it, and you're like, oh my god, I can't wait to see what happens next week. The next week, Tess and Alexander aren't on the episode. That's stupid. I mean, that is not how you write a series, Comic shows, comedies, they're disconnected. You can watch them out of order. It doesn't matter. TV series, dramas aren't supposed to be that way. So, I say that to say, at the very opening of the scene, yesterday in Smallville, Clark was gone for 3 weeks, and he returned last night. Because there was 2 days into the wedding, this is the day before the wedding. So, this is the next morning. Clark comes into the office and tells Lois, oh, I know you've been so busy with the wedding preparations and your promotion that you haven't been home. And I'm like, no, sweetie, you've been gone for 3 weeks. You don't know what the hell she's been doing or what's been going on for 3 weeks. So it's like the writers of the show don't communicate, or they write their separate episodes and Kelly and Brian give them a vague idea of what happened in the previous episode. Because Dominion ended with Clark coming back. And this episode, Prophecies, should have begun that night with them still dealing with it, or the next morning where it actually mattered that he'd been gone and that the characters seemed aware of that fact. Oliver's storyline, it flowed from one episode to the next. It actually mattered. And the only episode, Salvation ended, Lazarus began at that same moment in time. The rest of season 10 has been so disconnected, it's ridiculous. If you look from week to week, how episodes could have just been flipped and swapped and it wouldn't even matter. That is ridiculous and unprofessional. But anyway, this is how simply they could have changed it so that it made sense. Clark comes in and he says, Lois, I know you've been stressed out because I've been gone and dealing with the wedding and everything, so if there's anything I can do to help you, let me know. Then Lois could have said, no, it's okay, I'm working on this story about the water, but I got it under control. Clark could have said, are you sure? And she could have said, yeah, don't worry about it. I've got everything handled. And he could have said, well, there is something I need for you to do, for me. Boom, they go to the FOS. That's it, people. Just 3 or 4 lines of different dialogue that actually showed that Dominion happened. So we get to the FOS, and that's when I loved what was happening. It's very cute, the scene. Even though I think it's stupid that Clark wants to introduce Lois to a computer. His father died of a heart attack. His biological father died because his planet got destroyed. The only thing he should be coming to this computer for is information about his heritage or about his powers. He should use it like a computer. He does not have to introduce Lois to it. Regardless, it was cute because of how they were acting in the dialogue, so that was fun. Until Lois gets crushed by a giant ice beam. And I say crushed because any human being would be killed. Like her car comes up, Lois, are you okay? No, Clark. She's been crushed. Her torso and her lower body is crushed. She is dead. But in Smallville, apparently getting thrown around, bashed about the head doesn't actually injure you, so Clark didn't even conceive of the fact that she was dead. But he tried to lift it and he couldn't, and then she had powers. Thank you, jor-el. Next scene, Lois is zipping around the office. This is really cute too. And I have to say, these writers did a lot of funny things. Like, Lois is super speeding around and she's, I love you, and she blows him a kiss. And I'm like, see, if I had seen things like this for the past 10 weeks, 10 episodes rather, then I wouldn't have given up like I did after Icarus. I said on my videos, I've given up on the quote-unquote Clovis relationship. And I have, but it was still cute because I'm like, see, they could have just done this every week. Cute little things that were coupley instead of long, drawn-out conversations at the end of every episode. So Clark looks really frustrated. I was like, finally, Clark gets to see how much of a douche he is when he's zipping past, someone's talking, he barely finishes what he's saying, and boom, he super speeds away. No bye, no conclusion. He doesn't even say like, oh, Lois, I gotta go, or give her a kiss on the cheek. It's just always like, boom, he super speeds away. So finally Clark got to see the shoe on the other foot, and Lois realizes she left him, comes back, and he's like, okay, I'm driving. The next scene was so funny when they're at the cafe. I mean, you know how people say knee slapping funny? I admit there were times during this dialogue where I was hitting my knee. I was laughing so hard, and I will tell you why. It's because of the way Clark was acting. Or Tom Welling was acting. Either way, it was hilarious because Lois comes back. She's got a bullet hole in her jacket, and he's like, what? And she goes, oh, somebody, he said, you said you were going to get some Parmesan. And she's like, oh, well, someone literally brought a gun to a knife fight. If you have to see this. When Clark goes, at the condiment stand? He's so freaked out. It was just adorable. And he's wearing glasses and he's actually reporting. Who knew? Since they haven't had but 2 or 3 episodes of him even working. And then they have Lois get a promotion and he doesn't. I guess, for some reason they didn't want him to be a reporter on this show. Or this season, rather. So then she says that she brought him something from Wisconsin, and I guess it's like a cheesecake. And then she said, oh, I had to use my freeze breath. And he goes, Arctic breath. Clark. Oh, he's so funny. Correcting her. And then he tells her that she should listen in on what's going. He said, this is when I would use my super hearing. And she's like, oh, is that the squinty head tilting thing? He goes, apparently. Okay, this is a moment because, okay, Supernatural is a show that I'm not, super into as far as demon hunting. Whenever I watch it, I don't watch it every week, but whenever I do, again, a quality show where the writing is so on point. Like, someone does something stupid. One of the brothers says something stupid, and you as a viewer go, wow, what an idiot. And then another character on the show will say, man, you're such an idiot. And that is what I love about well-written shows. When the people within the show live in reality, like when something's dumb or strange, they respond to it like a normal person. And I would say 99% of the time, Clark doesn't respond to things like a normal person would. So it's really funny and really awesome what he does. And this is one of those moments when it's like, she says something, he's like, yeah, like, apparently. And that she even noticed that he does these weird things when he's using his powers. It reminded me of Masquerade when he says, microvision, and she's like, microvision? He goes, yeah, it's my power, I can call it whatever I want. Clarky. Okay, so then this was a great moment when Lois tries to use her super hearing, and she just looks adorable in the light when she's trying to hear things. And I must mention Wrath, which was an episode where, because of lightning, Lana got his powers. And Lana listens into a conversation with Chloe and Clark, where Clark is telling Chloe that she needs to watch Lana. Then Lana goes crazy, attacks Lois, tries to kill Lex. Connor listens in with his superpowers on Clark talking to Tess about telling Clark that he's part Lex, and he flips out, and all this kind of crazy stuff happens there. That doesn't make any sense. Like, to me, this makes sense that when you get a power, it takes some adjustment. You don't just automatically, all these things, all these sounds, everything would be amplified, so it makes sense that it would take some getting used to. Even in season 7, Clark had to try to get Kara to understand how to use her super hearing. She was trying to find her spaceship, I think, and they had some like alarm going off. She couldn't focus enough to find out where it was being held, and Clark had to take her and really try to get her to focus, and it took a while. But Lana and Connor, stupid. So yeah, plot holes. But here, Lois hears everything, and she says, you ignore, these calls for help. And I was so proud that Clark said, no, I don't ignore them. I have to prioritize them, which I think is the truth. He doesn't ignore people. He has to decide, who needs saving. Okay, so this is my question about Superman. I've always thought, Superman's so awesome, and he's got these powers, and he just saves people, and it's not a big thing. But after watching this show for years and years and years, and seeing Clark and how he didn't want powers back in season 5, and he was glad when he lost them, and having sex with Lana and all this BS, now it's like, it's not, to me, like, if you're a firefighter or a cop, it's your job to save people. Or if you're a doctor and someone passes out or something at a restaurant, I feel like it's your duty, But I don't feel like Clark has to save people. Like, I feel like anybody he saves is a bonus, and maybe I'm seeing this in a different way because of the show or because of whatever, but I feel like if he steps in front of a bullet for somebody, then that's awesome for them. He saved them. But I don't feel like he has to save people. Like, I don't feel like it's a duty. I feel like it's a choice. And so I wonder what other people out there think. If you want to comment, do you think that Clark is responsible for saving people's lives? I mean, this comes up in the final scene when Lois said she can't be watching a movie and eating ice cream when he could be saving 5 people. I feel like people die, things happen. Clark, even if he spent 24 hours a day doing this, he couldn't save everybody. And I feel he shouldn't have to. Like, he saves people when he can, and I think that's enough. I don't think it's his responsibility, I guess, because it doesn't seem like, it's not his job. It's what he does because he wants to, but I don't think he has to. So I guess it's the difference between choice and duty, responsibility, that kind of thing. Anyway, so in that scene, she goes in. Another thing is she didn't realize her own strength when she threw someone. Which is also the difference between when Lana had Clark's power. She's kicking Lois through a wall and attacking Lex, and she's totally in control of the powers, which makes no sense. So then Lois goes to talk to Toyman. This was so dumb. Lois willingly lets this man control her when she has superpowers. Like, this was so stupid. Wow, Lois cannot be this stupid. Like, who's the stupid? I guess they tried to explain it. at the end, but I wasn't buying it. Oh, and then he mentions Lana.